The Adventures of Superman. In an attempt to intimidate the Daily Planet, which was exposing a huge housing racket in which war veterans were being fleeced of their savings, the racketeers abducted editor Perry White. And when another story about them appeared in the newspaper, Brock Nielsen, the leader of the gang, ordered that White be executed. Meanwhile, Superman had succeeded in locating Nielsen and, taking him high into the sky, forced him to reveal White's whereabouts. As we continue now, Superman is streaking to the warehouse in Metropolis where Perry White, his arms and legs bound, faces Nielsen's henchmen, Joe and Eddie, who are engaged in a hot argument. Finally, Joe points his revolver at Eddie. Listen.
What are you pointing your rod at me for?
Because Nielsen said we'd get rid of this guy, White, see? And that's just what we're going to do, see? Even if I have to let you have it.
But Joe...
Are you going to get out of the way or do I drill you first?
But Joe...
Go on, move. Brownie's waiting in a car, and I don't want him telling Nielsen we botched the job.
Listen to me, Joe, or whatever your name is.
You shut up, Grandpa.
Why, how dare you...
Well, Eddie, what's it going to be? I'm giving you just 2 seconds to step out of the way. 1.
Okay, Joe. You win.
Now you're getting smart. I want out and wait in the car with Brownie. Sing him some Christmas carols. I'll handle this alone.
All right, Joe. You look here, you. This thing's gone far enough.
Skip it, Grandpa. Just say your prayers and make it fast.
I'm warning you for the last time. You'll go to the chair for this.
Thanks for the tip.
I'll take that
What's
gun.
that? You're Superman. Oh, boy.
Give me that gun, I said.
Yeah, I'll give it to you like this.
Look out, Superman.
What a waste of ammunition.
Hey, what happened?
Didn't you know I shed bullets? Now give me that gun.
You'll never get me to turn over my gun.
Grab him, Superman.
I got him.
Yeah.
You want to fight, eh?
Yeah.
Well, how's this for a right cross?
Nice going, Superman.
Thanks, Mr. White. Are you okay?
Oh, sure. Thanks to you. But there are 2 other thugs, one called Eddie and another one named Brownie, in a car in the alley.
I see them.
And the ringleader of the gang is named Brock Nielsen. Don't let him get away.
Don't worry. I've already parked Nielsen where he'll be safe. Now I'll pick up Eddie and Brownie, and in a few seconds I'll be back for you.
Away!
What happened then, Mr. White?
Well, Superman grabbed Eddie and Brownie just as they were getting away. Then he picked up Brock Nielsen, whom we'd parked on the Metropolis Bank spire.
On the bank spire?
Yes. And then, Jim, he and I delivered all 4 racketeers to Inspector Henderson.
Boy, oh boy, what a Christmas package that was.
And how? Especially after Nielsen revealed the names of his other accomplices. And now they're all in jail. And for further details, gentlemen, read the late edition of the Daily Planet today.
Yeah, I did, but
And that goes for you, too, Kent.
Yes, I know.
I wrote the story, you know, and if I do say so, it's a humdinger.
Oh, I'm sure it is, Chief.
Hey, I don't like the way you said that.
Sorry.
Gosh, Mr. White, I'll bet you were relieved when Superman slammed into that warehouse.
Well, it certainly made things a lot easier, Jim.
Oh, brother, easier, he says.
Of course, I had a trick or 2 up my sleeve, but I'll admit it would have been touch and go without Superman.
Yeah, I'll bet it would.
Now, between us, though, we didn't have any trouble taking care of those hoodlums.
Between you, eh?
That's what I said, Kent. Any objections?
Oh, no. I saw what happened, and I was...
You saw it?
Well, what do you mean, Mr. Kent? How could you see...
Why...
You weren't anywhere near the warehouse. So what do you mean you saw it?
You described the scene so well, Chief, that I just feel as if I were there.
Yeah, me too. Listen, Mr. White, did the police get all the money back that Nielsen's gang gypped from the war veterans?
Well, not all of it.
Oh, that's too bad.
But the important thing is one of the biggest and dirtiest rackets in the history of Metropolis is broken up. And with all the publicity we gave it, maybe people have learned to be more careful in the future before they give their hard-earned money to strangers.
Well, I certainly hope so. Look, are we going ahead with our racket-busting campaign, Chief?
We certainly are. Until every last racketeer in Metropolis is behind bars. Now, our slogan is, stop, look, and investigate thoroughly before you do business with strangers. You get that, Olson?
Get what?
Get what? Haven't you been listening to me?
Huh? Oh, sure. It's just that I'm so hungry.
Hungry?
Uh-huh. Been so worried about you, I haven't eaten a thing all day.
Oh, say, come to think of it, I'm pretty hungry myself. How about you, Kent?
I could do with a bit of food.
Okay. Well, what do you want to eat?
Gee whiz, I don't know. Poco had such a wonderful Christmas dinner ready for us.
He did?
Uh-huh. Roast turkey and dressing, candied sweet potatoes, cranberries, mince
Oh,
pie.
stop it. I'm hungry enough as it is. Well, you just call up Poco and tell him we'll be right home.
Okay.
It's too bad Lois isn't back from the coast yet, isn't it, Chief?
Yes, it is. Well, we'll have to celebrate without her. Now, let's forget all about racketeers for the rest of the day and have a late but a very Merry Christmas.
A short time later, as our friends are sitting down to a late but nonetheless Merry Christmas dinner, two men we have met before walk warily through the twilight on an almost deserted metropolis street. A light snow is falling, and the taller man, who is very thin, has the cheap fur collar of his tightly fitted coat turned up about his ears. His companion, a heavy-shouldered, flat-nosed man, slouches along at his side, wearily singing a familiar song.
Froggy. She took a ride on a merry-go-round. Now poor Lizzie says...
Stop it, Froggy. Didn't that stupid song get us into enough trouble?
Yeah, it sure did, Professor.
Then why do you keep singing it?
I don't know. Because it's kind of cute, I guess. Besides, the guy's got to do something to cheer himself up when he's scared, like I am.
Scared? What you scared about?
Are you kidding?
How many times must I tell you, Froggy, that the police on the planet have forgotten all about that phony song racket we ran?
I don't believe it. And anyhow, I'm sure those guys on the Daily Planet still remember.
Nonsense. They're too busy with this big housing racket they're working on. I tell you, we're safer here than any place else in the country.
Says you.
Anyhow, I've got a special reason for coming back to Metropolis.
Yeah? What's that, Professor?
I'll tell you while we eat dinner.
Not dinner. I ain't even got a half a buck in my pocket.
Don't you worry about that. Here's the place.
What? You mean we're going to eat in this crummy little diner?
Don't belittle this eatery, Froggy. It may turn out to be a gold mine for us.
What, this dump a gold mine? What are you giving me?
My friend, you're going to hear some very good news in this diner. Very good news indeed. Come inside, Froggy.
Followed by his grumbling henchman, Professor Blessing, the racketeer who swindled Poco, editor White's little cook, and almost caused the deaths of Jimmy Olsen and Beanie Martin, enters the diner. What is he up to now? We'll be back in a moment with the climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, gang, it's a doggone shame to let your friends get ahead of you. You know, and collect more of those comic buttons in that new series from packages of Kellogg's Pep than you have. Because these new buttons are so easy to get. You don't have to spend any of your allowance. You don't even have to send in a box stop. What's more, you wouldn't want to miss out on the fun of trading duplicates and showing off your collection on your jacket or your dress or cap so everybody can see how many Pep comic buttons you've collected. So keep right on working on your collection. There were 18 new and different buttons in all. Every single one an old funny paper favorite like the Little Moose or Vitamin Flintheart, Flash Gordon, and Superman, of course. Every single one a colorful, true-to-life picture. But remember, you can't buy these Pep comic buttons anywhere. You get them the easy way, one in every package of Kellogg's Pep you open. And you get something else, too, a super delicious breakfast cereal that tastes just as good as it is good for you. Yes, sir, Pep helps you start your day right with energy vitamin B1 and good old sunshine vitamin D. And Pep gives your appetite a lift, too, with that catchy sunshine flavor and loads of crisp, golden toasted goodness. So remind Mom to get you some P-E-P, the sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
In a shabby little metropolis diner, Professor Blessing and Froggy, the two ex-song publishing racketeers, sit at one end of the counter, hungrily consuming hamburgers and coffee. At the other end of the counter, two seedy-looking individuals are being served by a fat, red-faced man in a soiled apron. As from a battered little radio on a wooden shelf, music blares forth, unheeded.
What a complete Christmas dinner, and after leaving this town with over 20 grand in our pockets.
Well, the horses were not very kind to us, Froggy.
Yeah, you can try that again. But look, Professor, you said we came back to Metropolis into this smelly hash joint for a special reason.
Yes, that's right. And we came back here to recoup our fortunes.
Give me that again, in 5-cent words.
I said, Froggy, we came back to collect another wad of the green stuff.
Oh, yeah? How?
We're the foolproof racket, one that can't miss.
What kind of racket?
I'll tell you about it as soon as those customers leave and Max joins us.
Who's Max?
The man behind the counter.
Oh, he a pal of yours?
Well, not exactly. An acquaintance of long...
Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
As Joe and Eddie in the warehouse with Perry White hear the four blasts of the car horn signaling the end for the gray-haired editor Perry White, Superman is high in the sky with Brock Nielsen, trying to force the racketeer leader to reveal where White is being held. As we join them now, miles up in the sky, Superman is saying, "Talk, Nielsen, and talk fast, or I'm going to let you fall again."
No, don't do it, Superman.
Then tell me, where is Perry White? Come on, talk fast, or I'll let you fall. Where is he? Yes?
He's in the warehouse on Clinton Street.
Where on Clinton Street?
Number 72.
72 Clinton, eh? All right, then.
But I'm afraid it's too late. What? My man Brownie must be there already.
You'd better pray, Nilsson.
I've got an idea that'll soon have us rolling in money again, Froggy. And if Jim Olsen or anybody else gets in our way this time, they'll regret it.
As we continue now in the diner, the proprietor, that red-faced man in a soiled apron, joins Professor Blessing and Froggy at the end of the stained chip counter. Listen.
Hello, Max.
Oh, hi, Professor. Long time no see.
Well, I've been away on business, Max.
Not doing a little stretch, huh?
Certainly not, Max. Certainly not. You know I rarely have any difficulties with the police.
Yeah, you're clever, all right, Professor.
Hey, talking about cops, how about locking the door of this joint and pulling down the shade? I'm nervous.
An excellent idea, Froggy. Max, I have a proposition to make you. So if you don't mind closing up now and losing a little business.
What business? I don't make enough in this diner to keep the mice alive.
Go on, then. Lock the door and pull the shade down.
Okay.
By the way, Max, would you mind turning off the radio?
Okay.
Ah, thank you. So, business isn't so good, eh?
It stinks.
So did them hamburgers.
Quiet, Froggy, quiet.
If you bite upon me for a loan, forget it, because...
Oh, no, Max. I don't want to borrow money from you. I want to help you make money. And incidentally, make a little for myself.
And can we use it?
Let me get this straight. You want to help me make some money?
Yes, and I'm thinking of making you my partner, Max.
Huh?
Me? Your partner?
Yes. Or perhaps I should say I've decided to become your partner.
Oh, that's different.
Now, look, Professor, I ain't got enough dough to pay the rent, so if you're...
All right, Max. But you have something worth a great deal of money.
Yeah? That's news to me. What?
This diner.
Are you kidding?
Not at all, Max. I should say this diner was worth, conservatively, $2,000.
What?
$2,000? Hey, now, look.
Perhaps even a little bit more, Max.
Oh, on. You're off your feed, Professor. Who'd give me $2,000 for a rundown joint like this?
That's what I want to know.
Plenty of people, Max. Plenty of them.
Yeah, well, look, I offered it to a couple of guys for $250. You know what? They left it.
Of course. It's because you didn't go about it the right way.
The only way I could sell this joint for even $100 would be to hit some guy on the head, take $100 out of his pocket, and stick a bill of sale in his hand.
And then run.
Yeah, run like anything.
I repeat, Max, this little diner is worth at least $2,000.
And I repeat, you're nuts.
I hate to go along with Max, Professor.
You stay out of this, Froggy.
Okay.
Look, Max, you said you'd sell out for $250, right?
Right, and I'll throw in the radio, which is the only thing in this joint that ain't broken.
Will you give me all I can get over $500?
Will I? And how?
Very well. Now, may I write on the back of this menu?
Sure. Nobody comes in to read it except the flies.
Excellent. Now, let me see. Ah, yes.
What you writing, Professor?
Quiet, Froggy, quiet. This diner is called the Honeybee?
Yeah, I ought to change it to the Deadbeat.
Hey, who's that?
I don't know, maybe it's...
Gonna wait, Froggy.
Maybe they seen us come in.
We didn't pass any cops. Probably a customer.
Sure, that's all it is.
Yeah, it's going away.
Boy, that a relief.
Be quiet now. I want to finish writing this ad.
What ad?
An ad for the newspapers announcing that your diner is for sale. Great sacrifice because of ill health. Honeybee Diner.
I'm telling you, you're wasting your time, Professor. Nobody'd buy this place. They take one look at it, they don't see no customers, they go home.
Don't worry, Max, don't worry. They'll see plenty of customers.
How will they when nobody comes in here?
Now, just leave those little details to me. There we are. Now, I want you to take this ad down and place it in the Daily Planet.
Hey, that's where those kids work, Jim Olsen and Beanie Martin. You know, if they ever see us again and yell copper, we'll go to the can for 20 years.
Look, Froggy, this is a big city. There's no reason for them to see us.
But they might. They work at the Planet and the first...
Nevertheless, the chances are in our favor. But if they should see us, well, we'll see that they don't get the chance to call the police. Now, Max, rush this ad down to the Planet. I want it to appear in tomorrow's paper. Beginning right now, we're getting back into the money. And plenty of it.
A few days later, as Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen return to the Daily Planet, the phone rings in Kent's office.
Hello?
Mr. Kent?
Yes, who's this?
This is Dave Powers.
Dave Powers?
Yeah. You're the fellow who's running the racket-busting department on the Daily Planet, aren't you?
Why, yes. What can I do for
What
you?
kind of a racket are you running?
Me? What are you talking about?
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. I answered an ad in your paper advertising a diner for sale.
Yes?
Well, I bought the diner for $2,000 in cash, and I got gypped.
You did, eh?
Yeah, I got taken by racketeers on account of believing an ad in your paper.
Well, now, look,
And
we
you're
can't...
the guys who keep saying you want to break up the rackets.
Well, we do, Mr. Powers. And if you think you've been victimized,
I
we'll do
don't
all...
think it, brother. I know.
Okay, we'll do all we can to help you. Where are you located?
This white elephant of a diner I bought. 212 West Harrison Street. It's called the Honey Bee.
The Honey Bee? I'll be right down. You can give me all the details.
I'll give to you all right. And to the police, too. Come on over.
I'll be there in a few minutes. So long. Jim?
Yes, Mr. Kent?
Get your hat and coat. We're going places.
Hurrying from the Daily Planet, Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen set out for the Honey Bee Diner, which, as we know, was where we last saw Professor Blessing and Froggy. We'll return in a moment for the surprising climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, gang, it would be kind of fun to take a census and see whether the fellas or the girls have collected the most different comic buttons from that exciting new series that now come in packages of Kellogg's Pep. From what I've seen, both fellas and girls are mighty busy with their collections. And no wonder. It's a heap of fun to get a brand new button whenever Mom opens a new package of Pep. Maybe it'll be a favorite comic strip character that you don't have yet, like, maybe Brenda Starr or Flash Gordon or maybe Superman himself. And if it is a duplicate, why, that's even more fun because then you can swap with one of your pals. And you know the best part is, these Pep comic buttons are so easy to get. You don't have to send in a single penny, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. But every time Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pep, there's your slick-looking comic button inside. And Pep gives you something else, too. A super delicious dish for breakfast. Yes, sir, Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. It's loaded with catchy sunshine flavor, golden, toasted, and good. And Pep is on the beam with Sunshine Vitamin D, too. That good old vitamin that helps build strong bones and teeth. And Energy Vitamin B1. Yes, sir, Kellogg's Pep is sure a prize package. That's P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
As we rejoin them, Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen have arrived at the Honey Bee Diner and have seated themselves at one end of the chipped and stained counter. At the other end, two husky men, their backs half turned to our friends, sit quietly, occasionally sipping at their coffee. Behind the counter, a red-headed young man in a neat white apron fidgets nervously at the coffee urn.
This poor guy paid $2,000 for this joint, Mr. Kent.
What he said, Jim.
Wow. Was he stung?
It looks like it. Said he bought it after seeing an ad in the Planet, too.
Uh-oh. That's not so good for us.
Right. I want to know more about it. That must be Dave Powers, the man who called me up behind the counter. Why doesn't he come over here?
I don't know. I'll call him. Say, a waiter.
I'll be with you in a minute.
Uh-oh. There go the profits.
Powers seems very nervous.
Sure does. Jumped a foot when he dropped that cup. Look how he keeps biting his lip.
Quiet, Jim. Here he comes.
Yeah? What'll it be?
You Dave Powers?
That's right.
I'm Clark Kent from the Daily Planet. You called and said...
Oh, yes. I changed my mind, Mr. Kent.
You what?
I'm sorry I bothered you.
Huh? Hey, what is this?
What do you mean, Mr. Powers? You said
You
that
heard me. I changed my mind.
But look, we
I'm
came to...
sorry I bothered you. I made a mistake. I'm busy now. So long.
Oh, I don't get it. You called us up and said
Quiet,
you were
Jim, quiet. I understand, Mr. Powers. You don't want to talk while those customers are here. Tell you what, you bring us some sandwiches, anything at all. We'll wait till they leave.
I don't want you to wait.
You don't?
No, I don't want to see, and I can't serve you any food either. I'm all out of everything. So beat it, will you? Please.
Of all that... Now, listen, Mr. Powers.
Will you fellas stop taking up my time? I said I'm all out of food, and I'm too busy to gab. So long.
Now, wait a minute.
Never mind, Jim, never mind. Come on.
Where?
Out.
But,
Come on, I said.
Okay. But I don't get it, Mr. Kent.
Neither do I.
But why did you...
Jim, there's something strange going on in this diner.
Why do you say that?
Because Dave Powers is scared, terrified, absolutely petrified with fear.
Why? Of what?
I don't know. It's something I don't...
I can't figure it out, Mr. Kent.
What do you mean, Jim?
Well, first this fellow Dave Powers tells you to hustle down and get his story, but when we get here, he practically throws us out. Why?
I don't know. But it's clear that Dave Powers is scared, Jim.
Scared?
Petrified with fear. That's why he wouldn't talk.
But what's scaring him?
That's what I don't know. But apparently something happened between the time he called us and our arrival.
Come on, let's go.
Where? Back to the office?
Certainly not. Powers said he was victimized in a racket, and the Daily Planet is conducting a racket-busting campaign, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but...
Also, Powers said he got into trouble because of an advertisement he read in the Planet. So it's...
What advertisement?
I'm not sure. From what he said, I gathered it. Uh-oh. Start walking. They're watching us.
Who is?
Dave Powers and the two tough-looking customers in his lunch wagon.
But
No, don't turn around, Jim. Keep walking to that drugstore across the street. I'm beginning to see a light.
What do you have, sir?
Oh, cup of hot chocolate, I guess. How about you, Jim?
Malted milk for me, please. Strawberry. And with whipped cream if you have it. One chocolate, one strawberry malt. Top it. Mr. Kent, what did you mean before when you said you were beginning to see a light?
So far, Jim, it's just an idea suggested by those two men.
What two men?
The ones in Dave Powers' lunch wagon. You see, Jim, they were all through eating when we got there, just fiddling with their empty coffee cups. But they're still there.
Oh, so what? It's cold outside. They're probably just killing a little time in the diner where it's warm.
It could be, but I noticed something else peculiar about them. Something harder to explain.
Yeah? What's that?
They're both carrying guns.
What? They are?
45.
Gosh, how do you know?
Huh? Oh, I just happened to notice it.
But how? I didn't notice it, and I passed right by.
Never mind the details now, Jim. I tell you, they're carrying guns. They look tough, too.
Yeah, I noticed that all right. Look, maybe we ought to call the police.
No, not yet. At least until we have more reason to suspect those men, because they may be watchmen or persons who have police permits to carry guns for one reason or another.
Maybe. But then why is Dave Powers so scared?
That's what we're going to find out.
How? Can't find out by sitting here, and he won't tell us. So where are we?
We'll try Powers again after those men leave the lunch wagon. I've got a hunch that if we get him alone, he'll talk.
I don't know. The whole thing doesn't make sense to me.
No, to me either, so far. That young fellow is in trouble. Serious trouble. Besides, our paper is involved. So we're seeing this through, Jim. Now, just relax and sit tight for a while.
Hey, one hot chocolate and a strawberry mullet. Kent, we've been sitting in this drugstore over an hour now. What's going to be?
Patience, Jim. Those two fellas are still in Powers' lunch wagon across the street.
I know, but how much longer can they stay? And they got a home to go to or a job?
Maybe they're working at their job right now.
Killing time in Dave Powers' diner? But jeepers, what for?
Maybe to make sure he doesn't tell us or anybody else about how he was taken for $2,000 by some swindling racket.
Gee whiz, if you really think that's so, shouldn't we report this to Inspector Hendis?
We'll wait a little while longer. Uh-oh.
No.
Come on, Jim.
Where? What happened?
Two men are leaving the lunch wagon.
Oh, that's right. Come on, let's...
Wait a minute. Don't go out yet. Stand here behind the door.
Why? What are we waiting for?
For them to get out of sight.
Oh. Hey, look, they're coming this way. Gosh, Mr. Kent, maybe...
Relax. They just have the car parked in front of this store. See, they're getting into it.
Boy, that's a relief. For a minute there, I thought we might be in for it.
Don't worry. Nothing can happen to you when you're with me.
Oh, no? I suppose bullets just bounce off you like off Superman, huh?
Of course they do. I mean, what did you say, Jim?
Say, what did you mean by that, Mr. Kent?
By what?
Do you know you just said bullets bounced off you like they do off Superman?
What? I said that?
Yeah, and this isn't the first time you said something like that and then caught yourself.
Really?
Gosh, Mr. Kent, sometimes I think maybe you are...
Oh, don't be silly, Jim.
Well...
Come on, and then drove away. Now, you and I are going to have another little talk with Dave Powers. And this time, we must find out what this is all about. Now, look, Mr. Powers, I know you're in trouble, and I want to help you. But first, you must tell me what...
I told you I changed my mind, Mr. Kent. I made a mistake when I called you up this afternoon.
But look...
So forget it and leave me alone, will you?
All right, but just tell me this. Did those two men who just left here have anything to do with your sudden change of mind?
Oh, well, what do you mean? What two men?
Don't play dumb, Mr. Powers. You
Just
know...
a minute, Jim. Let me handle this, please.
There isn't anything to handle. I'm not in any trouble, I tell you. Everything's fine. Just dandy.
But you...
Don't forget I ever called you up and go back to your paper, will you, please?
But you said our paper was partly responsible for your being swindled out of $2,000, didn't you?
Yeah, but I made a mistake, I tell you. So will you please get out now and let me alone? Because if you don't, they might have...
Who might what?
Nobody, nothing.
You mean the two men who were here might come back, don't you?
No, I didn't mean that.
Who are you kidding?
I'm not kidding,
Look, Powers, I know you need help, and you need it badly.
No, I don't.
It's perfectly obvious that you're in fear of your life. Now, I assure you that the Daily Planet and the police department will protect you and help you out of whatever jam you're in if you'll only cooperate.
No, I can't. I'll be a dead pigeon if I talk.
Jeepers, and those guys
I tell you, nothing will happen to you, Powers. Just tell me what...
Holy smokes.
Please, Mr. Kent, look.
They came back.
Yeah, we came back. So you decided to forget our warning about talking to these newspaper guys, hey, Powers?
No, I didn't.
Oh, no?
No, I was
We
just...
warned you, Powers.
Now, wait a minute.
Shut up,
Look
you.
out, Mr. Kent, they've got guns.
You got this coming, Powers. Okay, Boo-Boo. Let them have it.
No, don't.
Jim, Dave, hit the floor.
Shouting out to Jimmy Olsen and Dave Powers to fall to the floor, Clark Kent leaped forward as the pistols in the hands of the two gunmen blazed. We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, gang, do you get just a little bit impatient sometimes when Mother or Dad tells you over and over again to be sure to look both ways before you cross the street? Do you think to yourself, gosh, nothing's going to happen to me? Well, now that's what is known as the wrong attitude. Sure, because accidents can happen to you. Serious accidents, perhaps the very first and the only time that you don't look both ways. And the same goes for jaywalking, crossing the street in the middle of the block instead of at the intersection, and sleigh riding and coasting on streets used by cars and trucks, and playing in the streets and hitching rides on cars or wagons, and crossing the street against a red light, and all the things that you know that you shouldn't do, but, you just get in a hurry and a little careless sometimes. So keep that in mind, won't you? Like the rest of our swell Superman gang, don't give an accident one single chance to catch up with you.
A moment ago, two gunmen, believing that Dave Powers had exposed them to Clark Kent and Jim Olsen, fired point blank at the young lunch wagon proprietor. But at the precise moment that their guns blazed, Kent, moving with the swiftness of light, leaped between them and their target. A few seconds later, the door slammed behind them, as without pausing to make sure of their quarry, the gunman dashed out, leaped into a waiting car, and roared off.
Out of my way, Dave.
No, wait, Mr. Kent.
Let go of me. I've got
Don't
to
go, Mr. Kent. They'll kill you, too.
Don't be ridiculous. What do you mean they'll kill me, too?
Who else got your pal Olsen?
Jim. Oh, no.
Yeah. Go look on the floor behind the counter.
But that's impossible. They couldn't have shot him. I caught all the bullets.
You what?
Oh, skip it. Jim.
Poor kid. He looks done for.
No, his heart's beating. I've got to get him to a hospital.
I'll call up for an ambulance.
No, I can't wait for that. I'll get him there faster without one.
Hey, what are you, Superman?
Yes.
Huh?
No. I'll grab a cab. Now, come on up with
I'll
you, Jim,
close
boy.
you up and come along with you.
No, you don't have to.
But I feel responsible if it hadn't been
Look,
for me.
it wasn't your fault, Mr. Powers. But the best way for you to prevent this from happening to you or anyone else is to open up and tell everything you know.
Okay, Mr. Kent, I'll talk.
Okay. Now, you call Inspector Henderson at police headquarters and tell him what happened.
Okay.
And tell him I asked that he please do nothing until he hears from me. I'll be in touch with him as soon as I get Jim to a hospital.
Right, but what about...
Never mind. Lock the door after me and stay put here till I get back. I'm going to get whoever's responsible for doing this.
Well, it's about time you got here, Kent.
Oh, no, Inspector.
Howdy.
I couldn't get away from the hospital until I was sure of Jim.
How's young Olsen, Mr. Kent?
Well, he'll have to stay in the hospital a while, Dave. Suffered a slight fracture of the skull.
Uh-oh. A fractured skull?
And a little concussion. But he'll be all right. Now, listen, Dave.
Wait a minute, Kent. How did this all happen to Jim?
Oh, well, you see, he dove for the floor when the gunman opened up.
Oh.
He must have struck his head on the edge of this marble counter.
That's too bad for a kid.
Yeah.
Well, look, now what's this all about?
Well...
All I can get out of Powers here is that a couple of fellas came in and tried to shoot him.
That's right.
Yeah, and they would have got me, too, if Mr. Kent hadn't jumped in front of me.
Jumped in front of you?
Now, wait a minute.
Right, Inspector. He jumped right into the path of the bullets. I can't understand how he's still alive.
Great gun.
Oh, forget it, will you? Let's charge it up to luck and get down to case.
Okay. Now start talking, Powers. Who were these men and why did they want to kill you?
I don't know.
Now, wait a minute, Dave. You know very well those gunmen had a reason for wanting you out of the way. And what's more, you know that when they find out you're still alive, they'll come back to finish the job.
But
certainly they'll try again. And unless you help us get them first, not only your life is in danger, but the lives of Kent and Jim Olsen, too.
Sure.
Have you thought of that?
Well, how do you mean, Inspector?
Kent and Jim saw the men and can identify them. That puts them on the spot, too.
It does, huh?
Sure it does. Jim is in a hospital now because he tried to help you, and it's only a miracle that Kent is still alive. Do you want something else to happen to them?
No, of course not.
Well, then start talking. Because I repeat that until we round up those gunmen, all three of you are in danger.
Well, okay, if you put it that way, Inspector, I'll talk.
Well, now we're getting someplace. Fire ahead.
Start from the beginning, Dave.
Okay, Mr. Kent. Well, you see, about a week ago, I noticed an ad in the Daily Planet under business opportunity.
Yes?
Said, due to illness, will sacrifice diner doing excellent business for $2,000 cash.
You were looking for a business?
Yeah. I'd always liked the idea of a lunch wagon since I'd worked in one once. So I talked it over with my wife, and we decided I ought to look into this ad.
Uh-huh.
So I wrote a letter to the box number given in the ad. Next day, a fella called me up and made an appointment for me to come down and see his place.
It was this diner?
That's right, Inspector.
Couldn't you see at that time that this place was run down and doing no business?
Oh, no.
How come?
Well, wait till you hear. When I got down here, I could hardly push my way in.
Is that so?
It looked like the subway in rush hour with customers all over the place, fighting for a place to sit down.
What?
That's right, Mr. Kent. It took me about 20 minutes to get to a stool at the counter. Another 10 minutes until I was noticed by one of the three countermen.
Finally, one of them, a tall, skinny, bald-headed man. What do you have, mister? Are you the proprietor? I'm one of them. Why? Oh, my name is Dave Powers. Was it you I talked to on the phone about buying this place? Oh, yes. But I can't talk to you right now, Mr. Powers. You can see how busy we are. Yeah, sure looks like you're doing great. Are you always busy like this? Oh, yes, always. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 6 days a week. Jeepers. Listen, mister, what...
Hey, waiter! How about my lunch?
Coming. You can see how it is, Mr. Powers. I've got to tend to the customers now. Well, look, when can I talk to you and your partner? Well, the lunch rush will be over in about an hour. Can you wait until then? Sure, I'll wait. Inspector, this place looks like a gold mine if I ever saw one. Of course. And you couldn't have driven me away. Oh, I hung around for an hour while the customers kept pouring in and the cash register was ringing like mad. What a come on. Yeah, and I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. But the fat guy, who turned out to be the main partner, said he wanted to sell out only because he was sick from all the hard work of breaking in the money and had to go to Florida. Oh, brother. And the skinny guy said he was worn out, too. So I plunked down the $2,000 it had taken me 5 years to save. My wife and I worked all night cleaning up the place. She even made those little curtains for the window. The next day, we woke up and found out we'd been stung, but good.
I think I can guess now just
Wait,
what
Kent. Go on, Powers. Tell us how you knew you were stung. Easy. Because there weren't any customers the next day.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Or the day after that, or the day after that.
No customers at all, huh?
Well, practically none, Inspector.
Uh-huh.
My wife and I sat around wondering what had happened. Then last night, a bum dropped in for a handout. I remembered seeing him around the day I bought the place, so I kept him talking. I finally got the story out of him.
Just what did he tell you?
That those dirty crooks who sold me this place had recruited all the bums for miles around. Told them they could get all the food they could eat free the day they were expecting me.
Yeah, how do you like that?
Naturally, they thronged in, and I thought the place was big business.
Naturally, but you should have checked on the owners and the place before buying.
Sure I should have, but I was too anxious. They told me other fellas wanted to buy the place.
Well, why didn't you call the police as soon as you learned how you were taken?
I was too sore, I guess. So I worked on that bum until he told me where I could find Max. He was one of the partners, the fat one.
Yeah? And where was he?
In a cheap rooming house on 12th Street. And this morning I hopped over there with blood in my eye. Max was there all right, and I told him unless I got my $2,000 back, I was going to the Better Business Bureau, the police, the Daily Planet, Racket busting department, every place.
Mm-hmm. And what did he say?
He told me to take it easy and he'd make everything right.
Oh, sure.
Said for me to go back to the lunch wagon, he'd get in touch with his partner and be over there in an hour with my money. He really seemed scared.
Where was this partner of his?
I don't know. I couldn't get any information at all on him.
Uh-huh. What happened then?
Well, I went back to the diner and, still being kind of sore, I called the Planet and talked to Mr. Kent. Pretty soon, two rough-looking guys came in.
The ones who tried to shoot you just before?
That's right. They said if I wanted to stay healthy, I wouldn't talk to the police or the Better Business Bureau or the Daily Planet or anybody else.
Boy, that dirty
That's
rat. When Jim and I came in, huh?
That's right, Mr. Kent. And you know what happened after that.
No.
Now, I'm still out my $2,000 and my good health.
Maybe not. What did you say is the address of this Max's rooming house?
I don't remember the number. It's on 12th Street, right near Chestnut.
Okay, let's run over there. We may still be in time to grab those rats. Come on. Is there a Max Toomey living here, mister?
Max Toomey?
That's right.
He moved out a couple of hours ago, Inspector.
I was afraid of that.
Did he say where he was going?
No, he didn't, Inspector. Just said he was going away for a rest. A long rest. And that he didn't expect to come back to Metropolis.
Well, I'm afraid this complicates things no end, Inspector. Let's go.
Dismayed, Inspector Henderson, Clark, Kent, and Dave Powers leave the rooming house proprietor, knowing that the gunmen are still loose and the racketeers gone with Dave's money. What will happen now? We'll be back in a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, the fellows in the gang tell me it's pretty much a matter of pride not to let the girls get ahead of you, and particularly when it comes to collecting comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Of course, I don't know just how many Pep comic buttons everybody's collected, but I do know that I've seen a good many young ladies wearing a good many comic buttons pinned to their jacket or dress or cap. Looks mighty keen, too, and no wonder. Why, these Pep comic buttons are really humdingers, so bright-colored and gleaming that, well, you want to collect all 18 in the new series. For instance, you want Toots and Casper, and the Inspector, and Barney Google, Pat Patton, Tess Trueheart, Chief Brandon, and Vitamin Flintheart, all from Dick Tracy, and Superman, and all the rest of them. You don't want to miss out on a single one. So hop to it, gang. Remind Mom to get you some Kellogg's Pep when she does her weekend shopping. Because that's the only way you can get these comic buttons. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. But you get these prizes, along with some doggone swell eating in every package of Kellogg's Pep. Yes, sir, if you're hep to Pep, your breakfast bowl full of these sunny whole wheat flakes is a real treat. pep tastes so golden and good that, well, you want to pitch right in and eat lots.
2 cops patrolling out in front.
Quiet. It's just as I expected.
You expected? Then what? Cheap as if they see
Quiet, I said. Let us out at the next corner, driver.
Okay.
No, we don't want to get out here, Professor. We better figure out how to get Powers some other way.
Will you be quiet, Froggy? I know what I'm doing.
I always thought you did, but now I ain't so sure.
Right here's okay, driver.
That'll be 80 cents.
Here you are. Keep the change.
Thanks.
You're welcome, my man. Come, Wilfred.
Okay. Now, what the heck is going on?
Until that cab goes away.
Okay, he's gone. Now, look, Professor, I don't like working with these cops in front of the Powers building. Besides, I see there ain't no alley behind it. How do you figure to get in without getting caught?
Just leave it to me, Froggy. It'll be dark in a few minutes.
So what? There's enough light from the street lamps for the cops to see us.
Yes, I know. But I've got a plan. And as soon as it gets dark, I'll show you how it works. Then you'll see what a cinch it'll be to take care of Dave Powers. Now, just relax and be quiet.
Standing in the twilight shadows of the corner building, Professor Blessing and Froggy wait for the fast-falling darkness to close in. When the professor says he has a plan that will make finishing young Dave...
That's when I say so.
I know, but I guess I lost me head, Professor.
What head? That lump on your neck is only a hat rat. You dumb idiot.
All right, so I'm dumb. So what are we going to do now? Just wait for the cops to catch up to us?
Well, there's only one thing to do in order to save our necks.
Yeah? What's that?
The one thing I've always steered clear of. Froggy, I'm afraid...
Listen.
Well, I guess there goes my $2,000, Mr. Kent.
Whoa, don't lose hope yet, Dave.
I know when I'm licked. We'll never find Max, and I don't even know the name of his partner.
I'm sorry for you, Powers, but what's happened to you is your own fault. You should have investigated thoroughly before you bought that lunch wagon.
Sure, I know that now, Inspector, but God...
You know, if people were more careful about doing business with strangers, racketeers would be forced to earn an honest living.
Ain't it the truth?
Now, look, Inspector, there's no need to rub it in. I'm sure Dave has learned his lesson.
I sure have, after it's too late to do me any good.
No, maybe it's not too late. Max got away, but you said he had a partner. The tall, thin one who did all the talking.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but he doesn't even know the fellow's name, Kent.
I know. Can you tell us anything about him, Dave?
Nothing except that he was a smooth talker, all right. And, oh, yeah, Max called him Professor.
Professor?
Uh-huh. I just remembered that. And he looked something like a professor, too. Tall and thin with a high, bald dome and nose glasses hung onto a long black ribbon.
Hey, doesn't that sound like Professor Blessing, Inspector?
Who?
The Phony song publisher who swindled Poco and almost finished Jim Olsen and Beanie Martin.
Hey, it does at that, Kent. But that Professor Blessing beat it out of town when Jim and Superman broke up his song publishing racket, didn't he?
True, but he could have come back, couldn't he?
Yes, he could have. Look, Howard, you said there was a third man with the professor and Max.
Yes, what did he look like?
Well, let's see. He was a husky guy with a broken nose and, well, sort of cauliflower ears. Looked like a broken-down prize fighter, as a matter of fact.
Froggy.
Huh?
That was Froggy, Professor Blessing's henchman.
Yeah, his strong-arm suit. Hey, you were right, Kent. The professor is back in town and up to his old tricks.
Got to get rid of him this time, Inspector. That's twice he put Jim Olsen in the hospital, and it's only a miracle Jim's still alive.
I'm well aware of that. Wait a minute.
Yes, Inspector.
Look, Healy, I want you to put a search detail through the Red Gate District for Professor Blessing and Froggy, and do it fast.
We turned the district upside down for them last month, don't you remember, Inspector? They skipped.
I know, but I have reason to believe they're back in Metropolis and were mixed up in that lunch wagon shooting today. We traced them to the Red Gate District the last time, so they may be hiding out there again.
Could be.
Give it the works, Healy.
Okay, Inspector. I'll get right to work on it.
Good. If those rascals are still in Metropolis, we'll find them, Ken.
I know you will.
And maybe we'll get some of your money back for you, Powers.
I sure hope so. Well, I guess I'll be getting back home. My wife will be worried about me.
Okay.
No, wait, Dave. I'll go with you. You're still in danger, you know.
Me in danger?
You bet. You know, one attempt is already made on your life today to keep you from talking. There's a good chance they may make another try.
Jeepers.
That's right, Powers.
Holy smokes, I didn't think of that.
Don't worry about anything. I'm going with you.
So what? What can you do against bullets, Kent?
Be surprised, Inspector.
Baloney. Just because you were lucky enough to rattle those gunmen this afternoon so that they shot wild, don't start thinking you're Superman.
That's very funny.
Oh, yeah? I think you'd better stay here with me. It won't take Healy long to go through the Red Gate District.
But, David,
I'll send a couple of my men along with Powers.
Oh, good.
They'll watch his house until the professor and Froggy are rounded up. I'll make the arrangements now.
As a thorough police search gets underway for Professor Blessing and Froggy, we find them in their room in a third-class hotel in the Red Gate District, where the professor is leafing through the telephone book.
Look, Professor, what do you mean we gotta rub somebody out to save our necks?
I mean just what I say, Froggy. By stupidly sending those gunmen to the lunch wagon, you made us accessories to an attempted homicide. With our record, we'll go up the river for life if we're picked up now.
But I don't want to go back to the big house.
You should have thought of that before, you half-baked idiot.
I guess I should have, but look at who we're going to rub out.
Who do you suppose? Dave Powers, of course.
Powers? You mean the sucker we sold Max's lunch wagon to?
Certainly.
But you just told me I shouldn't have sent the boys to his place.
Of course you shouldn't have, because then he had nothing on you and me, only Max.
Oh.
But now it's a different matter. Now we're tied up in an assault to kill rap. And we've got to take care of Powers so that he can't identify us as being mixed up in the racket at all. You see?
Yeah, I get it. Okay, leave it to me, Professor. I'll fix it so that Feluca don't testify against us.
Sit down. I'll tell you what to do. Here it is.
What?
Powers' phone number. I'm going to call him up.
Call him up? What for?
Close your mouth, Froggy. The flies will get in.
But you just said...
Never mind what I said. Just do as you're told and don't try to think. It'll only give you a headache.
But, Professor, you don't know what you...
Quiet.
Hello?
Is this apartment 4B?
No, this is 3C. Who is this?
Sorry, my mistake.
What the heck is going on?
Well, that was easy.
What was? What'd you do?
I found out what apartment Powers lives in. Also, that he's at home.
Oh.
Now, Froggy, got your gun?
Sure, I always carry it. But look, I hope you don't mean we're just waltzing over to the sucker's apartment.
Of course, that's what I mean. I said we had to get rid of him, didn't I?
Yeah, sure, but going to his house cold like this after the cops know we tried for him once today, don't you think they might be laying for us?
Yes, they might be.
Then we'll be walking right into a trap.
Oh, no, we won't, Froggy. As I said before, just leave the thinking to me, and everything will be okay. Now get your cap, and let's go.
Shaking his bullet head in bewilderment, the burly Froggy checks his revolver, replaces it in his shoulder holster, and follows Professor Blessing from the room. What will happen now? We'll return in a moment for the tense climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, gang, if there were a Hall of Fame for funny paper characters, we could hang pictures of those comic buttons you're all collecting from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Because every one of those characters is really famous. Take Flash Gordon, for instance. Why, folks have followed his adventures for years and years. And Brenda Starr. Everybody knows how pretty she is. And Superman himself. And all the wonderful things he does to straighten out people's troubles and to fight crime. So it's a real thrill to wear these comic buttons pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. Not to mention that they're so doggone keen-looking, so bright-colored and gleaming. And is it a load of fun to swap duplicates with your pals and get a new comic button every time Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pep? That's the only way you can get these prizes, you know. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop. And you can't buy them anywhere, but you get a comic button in each package of Kellogg's Pep. That's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Pep, the golden toasted whole wheat flakes with a catchy sunshine flavor. Pep, the crisp, fresh breakfast cereal that's so good for you with its added vitamin B1 and energy vitamin and sunshine vitamin D. Yes, sir, gang. Mom's mighty glad to have you eat lots of P-E-P. The Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Twilight is falling over Metropolis, and the streets are thick with homebound traffic as a taxicab bearing Professor Blessing and Froggy turns into a narrow, squalid street near the waterfront.
Slow down a bit, will you please, driver?
Okay, Max. It's the street Powers lives on, Professor.
Yes, number 2116. The corner house is 2100. Oh, that must be his apartment building, the one just ahead to the right.
Yeah, I can see the number. Hey, Professor, look.
So ask Mom to get you some P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Early that evening in a small third-class hotel in Metropolis, the skeleton-thin, bald-headed Professor Blessing wrathfully
You
faces
fool, Froggy, you stupid, thick-headed fool. Why did you send those torpedoes to Dave Powers' lunch wagon? Why?
Because I told you, Professor. Max comes running over here, shaking in his boots and yelling that our sucker, that Powers guy, was onto us. And said he was going to call the cops unless he got his $2,000 back.
Oh, what? Everything was done in Max's name? He owned the diner. He gave Powers a receipt for the money. You and I didn't have anything to worry about.
But you got $1,500 of the dough.
Sure I did, but nobody knows that except Max. And he couldn't prove it, even if he wanted to try.
Jeepers.
I deliberately fixed it that way, you fool. So if anything happened, Max would take the rap, not us.
God, you should have told me that, Professor.
I should have told you. I should have got rid of you long ago. That's what I should have done. Why didn't you wait for me to get back before you did anything?
I don't know. Except I guess because Max said we...
Why do you care what Max said? Now you've fixed us for good.
Well, gee...
Just when I had a stake in a new lunch wagon all lined up to buy for peanuts and palm off for a sweet profit. But now we're done for. We're accessories to an attempted murder.
How are we?
You sent your trigger-happy pals to the lunch wagon, didn't you?
Well, yeah, but
That makes us accessories, you fool. If we're caught and convicted, we'll get life.
Oh, don't say that, Professor.
Well, it's true. How many times have I told you never to use violence?
Powers a cinch. Meanwhile, in his office at police headquarters, where he waits with Clark Kent, Inspector Henderson has just received a phone call from Sergeant Healy.
The Redgate Arms, you say? Okay, Healy. We'll be right out. Wait for it.
What is it, Inspector?
Healy just found out that the professor and Froggy are staying at the Redgate Arms Hotel, Kent.
Did he get them?
No, they're...
Okay, Froggy. It's dark enough now. Come on.
Wait, Professor. What about them 2 cops outside Powers Building?
Don't worry about them. I've got things figured so they won't see us. Come on.
What's the pitch?
Now, you see the old tenement we're coming to? The one that's all boarded up?
Yeah.
It's almost directly across the street from the building Powers lives in. When we get there, we'll... Uh-oh. Step back in that doorway, quick.
What's the matter?
There's a car coming. See the yellow fog lights?
Hey, you think it's a SWAT car?
We'll see. Don't move, Froggy. Yes, it is a squad car.
Look, it stopped right in front of Powers' house.
Yes. Stay where you are. They can't see us.
Hey, Riley. Yes, Sergeant. Come here a minute, will you? Okay.
What do you suppose gives, Professor?
How do I know?
Maybe we ought to get out of here.
Not until we finish our job.
But if that police car is going to hang around...
I don't think it'll hang around long.
But just the same...
What's the matter with you, Froggy? Getting the shakes?
Oh, me? No, it's just that I don't like cops.
Okay, Riley. I'll be seeing you. Go on.
The squad car's leaving now. Duck, Froggy, so the headlights don't pick us out. Okay, the car's gone.
Yeah, but them 2 coppers are still outside the building. I can see them in the light from the hall.
Don't worry about them, I told you. Come on now and stay close to the wall.
Okay. What do we do now?
As soon as we get to that abandoned tenement, I'll tell you. And a few minutes later, we'll be able to stop worrying about Dave Powers.
Low, Professor Blessing and Froggy skulked through the foggy, murky darkness toward the looming black shadows of the boarded-up tenement building, almost directly across the street from Dave Powers' apartment. Meanwhile, Clark Kent and Inspector Henderson have arrived at the shabby little Redgate Arms Hotel, where they have been led by Sergeant Healy to a small room on the 4th floor.
Did you go through the room, Healy?
I sure did, Inspector. Nothing in it, though, except some of the professor's fancy clothes.
Well, he won't need them where he's going.
You said it. He'll be wearing stripes and a number.
You hope. What do you mean, we hope, Kent? The professor doesn't know we're on to him, or he wouldn't have lit out of here with his clothes. Yeah, we'll just wait here until he gets back and grab him.
I repeat, we hope, Inspector. The professor is very clever, you know.
Yeah, but he wasn't clever enough this time.
Right. You did a good job of tracking him down, Healy.
Thanks, Inspector.
Now, you'd better get down to the lobby and make sure the lad at the switchboard doesn't tip him off when he comes in. I don't like the fella's looks.
Rosen's been watching him since we moved in.
Just the same, go down and keep your eyes open. When the professor and Froggy come in, ring us from the switchboard. Then, when they get to the elevator, you and Rosen come up the stairs.
We make the pinch up here?
Right.
Okay. Stop wearing out the rug and relax, Mr. Kent. This is in the bag.
I wish I...
Oh, it's Mr. Ellsworth, the editor, and my wife. They get after me.
They do, huh? Why don't you get Superman after that? Well, it must be a wonderful feeling, Mr. Siegel. 20 million people waiting with bated breaths to see if Superman is going to pull up the Holland Tunnel and blow the perisphere through it for a spitball. And you are the only... It's Mr. Holland. Thank you a lot, Mr. Every time we plug the tunnel, Mr. Holland claps. You know, it's very nice of you. And you are the only man in America who knows what's going to happen.
I don't feel any different, Fred.
Oh, you're just being modest, Mr. Siegel. After all, you dominate a muscular marble with a dual personality. When Superman isn't Superman, he's merely disguised as a reporter, isn't he?
Yes, he's Clark Kent, a meek little chap with glasses.
When Clark has to perform a miracle, he switches to that Superman harness.
Yes, he wears athletic tights and a long cloak.
Well, what I can't figure out is this, Mr. Siegel. Now, how does he change his clothes so fast?
Well, after all, he's Superman, Fred.
I wouldn't care if he was Gypsy Rose Weinstein. Nobody can get into that long underwear ensemble in less than 5 minutes. Now, how does Superman do it?
Confidentially, Fred, he wears his outfit under his business suit.
Oh, when he's Clark Kent, he has those streamlined balbriggans on underneath. Is that it?
Right. He's always ready for action.
Well, if he wears woolen underwear all the year round, he sure gets action. Well, thank you a lot, Mr. Siegel. I've certainly enjoyed this opportunity to get the lowdown on Superman.
It's always a pleasure to talk about my protege, Fred.
Say confidentially, if your jumbo Peter Pan can use a part-time job, I have a little chore coming up around the first of the year. Superman is good at lifting things, isn't he?
Yes, Fred. Do you want him to pick up something?
Yes. My option.
I'm afraid that's the one thing that even Superman can't do.
I get it.
Good night, Fred.
Good night, and thank you, Mr. Jerry Siegel.
And now it gives me great pleasure to present to this convention the man who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a high-powered bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands. Superman, who walks around among ordinary mortals, disguised as mild-mannered Clark Kent.
He ought to be shaving soon. Well, Chief, it looks as if the whole staff is onto you.
No, is that so? Well, I'm going to get a brand new staff. That's what I'm going to do. And I'll show you that...
Heavens.
Huh?
What's the matter, Lois?
Why,
Well, what is it, Lois? You're pale as a ghost.
this letter, Clark.
Well, what's it about?
What about the letter?
Oh, no, it can't be. It just can't be.
Pale, her hands trembling, Lois Lane stares at the special delivery letter she holds as her eyes grow wider and wider. What is in the letter that has so startled the girl reporter? We'll be back in a moment to find out, so stand by.
Say, gang, you've heard the expression authentic reproduction. You know, means an accurate, exact copy of something. Well, when you get one of those colorful comic buttons in that new series from a package of Kellogg's Pep, you get an authentic reproduction of one of your favorite comic strip friends. And there are 18 different characters in the series. Old-time favorites of yours like Flash Gordon and Brenda Starr and Cindy and Spud from Winnie Winkle and the Little Moose and Goofy and Beezy from Harold Teen and Judy and Corky from Gasoline Alley and Superman himself. And you can have no end of fun working on your collection and trading duplicates with your pals. Now, how you get these prices is important. You don't send in a single penny, not even a box stop. And you can't buy them anywhere. All you do is two-room apartment.
You're not eating, Ann. What's the matter?
Huh? Oh, nothing. I guess I'm just not hungry, Dave. That's all.
Now, look, you've got to stop fretting about that $2,000 I dropped in the lunch wagon.
Well, I'm not worrying
Maybe
about...
Mr. Kent and the police will get it back for us. But even if they don't, it isn't the end of the world. We're young, and I can get a job.
I know. I've stopped worrying about that, Dave.
Well, then what is eating you?
Oh, nothing.
Don't try to tell me that. Now, I can tell there's something bothering you. Come on, honey, tell me what it is.
Well, I'm scared, Dave.
Scared? About what?
About those men who'll try to shoot you today. I'm afraid they might try it again.
Oh, no, they won't, honey.
Well, don't you try to kid me. I heard you talking to Inspector Henderson on the phone.
Now, look, honey, you don't have to worry, see? The police know the men behind this racket, and they're looking for them right now. Meanwhile, there are two big lads in blue uniforms and brass buttons out in front watching out for yours truly.
I know, but... What's that?
What?
Here it is again. Don't you hear it, Dave?
Sounded like a cat fight or something.
It wasn't a cat. It was a person screaming.
Now, look, Ann, you're letting this business give you the jitters. There's nothing to be scared of, I tell you.
Oh, I don't know.
There isn't. The police will pick up this Professor Blessing character and his pal Froggy anytime now.
I won't be able to sleep until they do.
Don't talk that way. I repeat, there's nothing to worry about. The whole police force and the Daily Planet people are...
What's that?
Oh, pull yourself together, honey. It's just the doorbell. I'll see who it is.
No, don't go to the door.
Listen then, my dear. It says, Dear Miss Lane, we are the executors for the estate of the late John Morse Lane of Johannesburg, South Africa.
Good heavens.
According to the will of Mr. Lane, who has just been admitted to probate, you, who are his niece, have been named as sole beneficiary of his estate.
Oh, this is incredible.
Isn't that what the letter says, my dear?
It's exactly what it says. Word for word.
You see?
Yes, but...
Now, can you tell me where we're going, Mr. Varden?
Well, I don't know, Miss Lane.
You don't know?
Well, I mean,
I don't
I'm not
understand.
sure.
What is this? Are you taking...
Take it easy, Miss Lane. What I'm trying to say is that one of the boys, a buddy of mine, is going to tell us where to go.
Oh?
Well, what is this mysterious thing we're going to?
A meeting.
What meeting?
Well, I don't know that exactly either.
What do you mean?
Well, Phil Dyer, my buddy, says this meeting is arranged to shoot the works.
Now, look here, Mr. Barton, I don't like this. You said you could lead me to a terrific story, the answer to all the mystery in Freeville.
That's right.
And now you tell me you don't know where you're taking me, except that it's to some meeting or other, and you don't even know where the meeting is being held or anything about
Now, wait
it.
a minute, please. Who said I didn't know anything about it?
You did. You
I
just
said I didn't know exactly what it was, but I do know this. The big shots will be there, and what's more important, they're all set to lay their cards on the table, according to Phil.
Really? And who are these big shots that you're talking about?
They're the boys who run things in Freeville and in this part of the state. The ones who pull the political strings everybody here has to dance to.
But
or
who
else.
are they?
The guys who've been trying to discredit the homesteading war veterans around here. Those who spread the stories that we're hotheads and foreigners. That we've been burglarizing and beating up people.
But why are they doing that? Why do
They want to get rid of us, that's why.
Get rid of you?
Sure. Oh, we were great guys while we fought their war for them. But now we're not even good enough to make an honest living on the land that we protect.
Wait a minute, will you? Who are these people that you're talking about?
Up and away!
Hurtling high into the sunlit sky, Superman speaks to the Metropolis telephone building. A few minutes later, while Superman waits tensely for a telephone employee to trace the number, Zara descends to the basement of the bungalow hideout, where Pinky, his henchman, stands guard over Lois Lane, whose hands are bound behind her. Little Miss Louisa, her arms also bound, lies unconscious on the floor.
All right, Pinky. We can proceed now with our unfinished business.
Now, look here, Zara.
Quiet, Miss Lane. Who just called on the phone, Zara?
Nella, she wanted to tell me that the police know all about us.
They do?
You bet they do. And if you're half as smart as you think you are,
I told you to shut up, sister. Hey, look, Zara. The cops are wise to us. This ain't so good. Maybe
Relax, Pinky. There's nothing to worry about.
But look, if the cops know everything like Nella
I said there's nothing to worry about. With Harris already out of the way, all we have to do now is get rid of both Miss Lane.
You mean?
Exactly. Then there is no case against me for participating in a racket or anything else.
Oh, but that's where you're wrong, Zara. The police know all
The police
about you.
can do nothing when there is no one to make a complaint against me and no witnesses to testify against me. You see?
But you shot Harris. That's murder.
Yes, but only you, Miss Louisa, and Pinky know that. In a moment, you and Miss Louisa won't be able to testify against me. And I can trust Pinky not to.
And how? Gee, you got it figured out perfect, Zara.
Of course I have. I told you there was nothing to worry about. And now, my dear Miss Lane...
No. Put that gun down.
You were very clever to have figured everything out so well. But unfortunately for you and Miss Louisa, you were too clever. And so I did you...
No, don't shoot!
Not so fast, Mr. Fortune Teller.
Superman! Thank heaven!
I'll take that gun, please. Let go of it.
Shoot, Zara, shoot.
You'll kill nobody anymore, Zara. Now give me that gun.
No, I said...
All right, then. Look into your crystal ball and see what's coming.
Oh.
Superman, look out for Pinky.
I'll take care of you, mister. Like this. Holy smokes. The bullets bounced off.
Yes, and before you spray any more lead around, I'll bounce this off you.
Oh.
Think that takes care of them. You all right, Miss Lane?
I'm just a little weaker than me.
I suppose this lady is Miss Louisa.
Yes, the poor old girl fainted when we heard Zara shoot Harris.
Zara shot him?
Uh-huh. Oh, Superman, if you hadn't arrived just when...
No. Take it easy, Miss Lane. Everything's under control now. As soon as I get these ropes off Miss Louisa and you, we'll all take a little trip to headquarters. Now, just take it easy for a second. Working swiftly, Superman frees Lois and Miss Louisa and takes them to police headquarters. A short time later, after preferring charges against the sullen Zara, Lois takes the much-shaken little spinster home, and then returns to the Daily Planet, where she writes her page-one story and places it on Editor White's desk.
There you are, Chief.
A conclusion, anyhow. And our only hope to stop them is by getting to them before anything happens.
Okay. So how do you propose to do that?
My suggestion is to let Nella go with your best gumshoe trailing her.
Uh-huh.
If you let her think you're through with her, I'm sure she'll get in touch with Zara at once and lead us to him.
Oh, go on. She's too smart to walk us to Zara's trap. Why, she'd smell a rat right away.
Maybe, but she might phone him. And with a tap on her telephone wire, you'll be able to trace Zara as soon as Nella calls his number. Then I'll hop right over there.
You'll hop right over there?
Huh? Oh, but I mean, we will. Well, what do you say, Inspector?
I don't know. It's risky, Kent.
But it's our only chance, and we've got to risk it.
Well, okay, I'll do it. Come on.
Now you're talking, Inspector. Let's get going.
Moving swiftly, Inspector Henderson issues orders to tap Zara's telephone wire and then to release his sister Nella. Will Clark Kent's plan to locate and rescue Lois Lane and Miss Louisa succeed? We'll know more when we return to the tense climax of today's episode. So stand by.
I know there are some times when you fellas in the gang have a different idea of what's fun than the girls do. But I know, too, that both fellas and girls like to get prizes, and that both fellas and girls are mighty excited about this new series of comic buttons that now come as prizes in packages of Kellogg's Pep. And no wonder. Why, there's a bright-colored, so doggone smart-looking, you get a real bang out of wearing them pinned on your...
He sits down to the blue costume and red cape of Superman. And up, and away! Leaping out and high into the sky, Superman rockets away above Highway 319 in pursuit of the old telegrapher, Abner Sykes. We'll return in a moment for the 10th climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, gang, have you ever noticed how much Judy and Corky from Gasoline Alley look alike? Of course, Judy's blonde and Corky's got dark hair, but they both have the same sort of button nose, and they're both mighty nice-looking kids. Yes, that's how clear and sharp the pictures of your favorite funny paper characters are on those comic buttons in the new series that you're all collecting from packages of Kellogg's Pep. That's one reason it's such an exciting hobby to collect them and to wear your collection pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. And you'll also get a kick out of trading duplicates with your pals and checking up to see if you've collected more different comic strip characters than they have. So get busy, gang. Ask Mom to get you some more Kellogg's Pep. That's right. You don't have to send in any money, not even a box top. And you can't buy these comic buttons anywhere. But there's one inside every package of Kellogg's Pep. That's the mighty good eating, too, you're going to find, too. Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal, you know. It's loaded with catchy, sunny toasted flavor. Crisp and fresh as can be. So doggone delicious that, well, your spoon just naturally keeps digging in again and again.
We found out Miss Lane was on to us, and that's what we should have done.
Well, I didn't like the idea of dodging the police for the rest of my life. You know, they usually catch up with you, Harris.
They'll catch up with us now, too.
They won't catch up with me.
What do you mean? You're in this as deep as I am. Deeper, as a matter of fact. You rigged the whole thing, you know.
Nobody can prove that. Except you.
Oh, no? How about that letter Miss Lane passed on to the police? The one telling Miss Louisa she inherited $1.5 million and to come and get it.
I didn't write that letter, Harris. You did.
Sure, but you told me to. You even told the old lady she was going to get the letter so she wouldn't stop to ask questions when she did get it.
Quite true. But as I say, only Miss Louisa can prove that. And Miss Lane. And with Miss Louisa and Miss Lane and you out of the way, I'm in the clear.
Let me get this straight, Zara. Did you say with me out of the way?
Exactly. I'm really sorry to do this,
Wait,
Harris.
Zara, put that gun down.
I'm sorry it has to be you and me, and I prefer that it be you.
No, wait, don't do it, Zara!
Zara, I heard a shot. What happened?
You can see for yourself, Pinky.
Holy smokes. Harris, what did you do it for?
I had a very good reason for it, but there's no time to explain now. We've got to act fast. Are Miss Lane and Miss Louisa in the basement?
Yeah, sure. Tied up and gagged like you said. Why?
We've got to take care of them, Pinky.
Huh? What do you mean?
I mean we've got to finish them as I did Harris. Then I can laugh at the police. Come on.
First plane out of here to Freeville, and I'll contact you as soon as I get...
Listen. Good Godfrey.
Who told Zara? And since it didn't reach me yesterday, I knew that this must be it as soon as you brought it to me.
I see. Tell me, Miss Louisa, who is Zara?
Oh, he's a wonderful man, my dear. A truly wonderful man.
Yes, but who is he? A lawyer?
Oh, no.
Well, was he associated with your late uncle in some way in South Africa?
He never even knew my uncle.
Then how did he know about this letter telling you about an inheritance?
Oh, Zara knows everything, my dear.
He does?
Oh, yes. Zara is the wisest man in the world, and he has unusual powers.
Unusual powers? I don't understand.
Well, Zara is a seer.
A what?
A seer. He can see far into the future.
Now, look, Miss Louisa, nobody can foretell the future.
Zara can.
That's ridiculous. Anyone who says he can is a fake. And that goes for this Zara person, too.
My dear child, how can you say such a thing? Didn't Zara tell me I would receive this letter you brought me? And didn't he tell me exactly what it could say?
Well, yes. I don't quite understand that, but...
So? How can you deny his powers?
There's something fishy about this. Look, Miss Louisa, did you really have an uncle named John Morse Lane?
Yes, indeed. He was my mother's elder brother. Of course, I never actually saw him because he ran away from home when he was very young. Oh, long before I was born.
And now, suddenly, it turns out that he owned a diamond mine worth $1.5 million.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Well, doesn't that seem a bit peculiar that a fortune teller knows about it?
The music.
Zooming down on the fleeing plane, Superman dumps the two unconscious would-be assassins in with the now panicky flyers. Then, grasping the plane's landing gear, he propels the aircraft with the speed of light toward the county airport. And a few minutes later, he delivers all four of Clayton's men to the state police. Meanwhile, in the sumptuous library of his palatial mansion on the river, Clayton is listening to startling news on his telephone.
What? Raining? In Freeville? Well, that can't be. I can't understand it. If you don't have to tell me the rain will save them veterans, I know that too well. Yeah, you darn tootin', I'll see about it. And right this minute. Something went wrong, but I'm
afraid you won't do anything about it, Mr. Clayton.
What? Look, I'll call you back later, Homer. Bye. Well, if it ain't my old friend, Mr. Kent. Mighty nice of you to drop in on me, sir.
I don't think you'll feel the same way about that when you hear why.
Well, if it isn't Miss Lane and my old friend Major Renshaw of the state police.
Hello, Miss Clayton. We've come here to...
Why, nothing makes me so happy as to have my good friends around me. You know, that's one of the blessings of these fine old United States. A man can get together with his friends in peace and freedom.
You can skip the flag waving, Clayton.
Yes, Mr. Clayton. You can let your hair down now.
You sure are amusing people. Yes, sirree. Let me offer you some refreshment.
You're lucky you're not dead.
Look, what's the meaning of all this?
We don't like reporters in Freeville, that's all.
Especially reporters from out of town.
Why not? What have I done to you?
Nothing. We just don't like reporters.
Oh, stop playing mysterious. Just what is going on around here? Why does everybody seem so
Don't
scared?
waste your breath asking questions, Miss Lane.
Besides, asking questions ain't healthy around here.
But why? What's behind all this?
Ain't nothing to concern you. Now, the eastbound limited goes through Freeville at midnight. You get on it and don't come back.
Now, look here. You can't
You
help...
heard me get out of Freeville on the limited tonight and stay out. Understand?
And suppose I refuse?
That'll be the last you'll ever refuse in this world, Miss Lane. Because I warn you, if you're still in town by morning, you won't be breathing.
And that's the whole story, Clark. Except that after that, they put the sack over my head again, and they made me climb up a tall ladder.
A ladder?
Yes, it seemed as if I climbed and climbed until suddenly the air got clear.
Hey, must have been the old lead mine they took you to.
Come to think of it, it did feel as if we were in a mine shaft.
That's where you were, all right.
Lead, the one substance I can't see.
The old Brewster mine.
What did you say?
How's that?
Nothing, Mr. Sykes, nothing, Lois. Finish your story. How did you get back here?
Oh, well, the men put me back in the car and drove a few minutes, and then they took me out and spun me around and around until I was so dizzy. Then I heard them drive off. But by the time I stopped reeling and got the sack off my head, they were out of sight. I could see the lights of a town in the distance. Fought for our country, foreigners. Just because of their color or the country their parents came from.
That's what he always says, Miss Lane.
How dare you say that?
He's a hate peddler. That's the regular hate preacher's line.
Hear me now. And it's been our statement un-American foreigners ain't enough to do to it.
Just listen to him. That's
One
mad.
of you fellas in Washington took away the best land in our state, just north of it, and gave it to these same foreigners. How do you like that, eh?
What a dirty lie. The land we veterans got was state-owned, reclaimed swampland that nobody ever wanted before.
I know. This is terrible, Jerry.
And they put it. Why, them foreigners, they turn around and they prey on us good American citizens.
Good American
They bring
citizens,
our
Mom.
houses and our farms and our stores. They burglarize us and they even beat us up. Now are we going to stand for that?
Oh, that dirty lying. He's lying, Miss Lane. Clayton and his gang are trying to discredit us because they know they can't make men who fought a war against Nazis vote for old Uncle Ed. He knows that we'll work against him and try to wake the people up to the fact that he peddles the same poison Hitler did.
I know, Jerry. I'm beginning to understand a lot about the mystery in Freeville now.
I've been praying to heaven to help us against these foreigners, and heaven's heard my prayers. Yes, in response to my prayers, heaven's dried up the sky.
Her heart beating rapidly, Lois Lane follows Jerry Barton into the dense woods. As meanwhile, on the trail of the elderly telegrapher Abner Sykes, Superman has arrived at a toll bridge 60 miles north of Freeville, where he is questioning the man in charge.
You say you know Abner Sykes?
Sure do, Superman.
You're positive he hasn't come over this bridge in the past hour?
Yep, I know he hasn't.
That's strange. He was headed this way, and he's nowhere on the road ahead or behind.
Well, maybe he turned off on a side road.
Well, there are only 2 or 3 side roads, and I didn't see him on any of them. But I didn't search them thoroughly. I better go back and do that now.
Hey, listen. What'd old Abner do?
What?
Must have been something important to have you after him.
Well, he didn't do anything wrong, if that's what you mean. But he can help me on something important, something very important. So I've got to find him.
That's so. What's it all
No
about?
time to explain now. Thanks very much, though. Up and away!
Lucifer jumped right up into the sky.
escaping. The bridge tender watches in amazement as Superman rockets away in search of Abner Sykes. Will he find the old telegrapher? And meanwhile, what of Lois Lane and Jerry Barton on their hazardous mission in the woods? We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, don't forget, gang, if you have duplicate comic buttons to trade in that swell new series from packages of Kellogg's Pep, be sure to let your pals know about it. Tell them which duplicates you have. All our power and our strength. We provide medical care for its victims. We train nurses and doctors to treat it. We're studying its cause and its prevention through research. And the service that carries on this fight is the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis, supported by the annual March of Dimes. Every year across the country, grown-ups and children give their dimes and dollars. So how about putting part of your allowance to work? And remind Mom and Dad, too, to give their contributions to the annual March of Dimes.
As we rejoin them now, Clark Kent and Lois Lane have returned to the Central Hotel in Freeville and are walking through the third-floor corridor to their respective rooms. Lois, still furious, is trying to make sense out of Abner Sykes' strange behavior. Listen.
You mean Mr. Sykes suddenly changed his tune because he was afraid of Mr. Clayton and Mr. Leonard? Is that what you're trying to say, Clark?
I'm not sure, Lois. Either he was afraid of them or else he just didn't want to reveal what he knew.
But he was just about to tell us everything.
I know. That's because we're outsiders. So we're not involved in whatever's going on around here between the local bigwigs and politicians and the war veterans.
Yes, but...
And as you remember, Mr. Sykes said he wasn't sure of all his facts, just some of them. Now, my hunch is that he wanted our help in finding all the facts. Oh, hold it. Here's your room.
Look, Clark, let's go back to the hospital.
No.
With Leonard and that flag-waving ex-governor gone, maybe
No,
we can...
I don't think that's smart, Lois. And anyway, you need a rest.
Oh, Dave.
Now, look, Ann.
Don't go, I said. They might be one of those terrible men.
Will you stop it? You know there are two policemen out in front of the house, don't you?
Yes,
and
but...
since there's no back entrance to the building, nobody can get in without being seen by the cops.
But just the same, Dave, please don't...
Relax, Ann. Everything's under control.
Smiling reassuringly at his pale young wife, Dave Powers starts toward the door, blissfully unaware that he is about to be confronted by Froggy, who, gun in hand, waits for him in the outside corridor. When last seen, Clark Kent was still in Professor Blessing's hotel room with Inspector Henderson, waiting for the return of the murderous racketeers, whose plan to do away with young Dave Powers appears to be working successfully. What will happen? Many things are set to happen, so don't miss tomorrow's startling and surprising episode, gang. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal. Say, what's your favorite Kellogg's cereal for breakfast? Kellogg's... Say, it's more fun than a picnic, gang, to open up your own individual package of your favorite Kellogg's cereal, pour on milk, and eat right out of the box. That's the Kel Bowl Pack in Kellogg's Variety. Saves washing dishes, and Mom likes Kellogg's Variety because it's got those nutritious Kellogg's cereals that are so good for you. 10 packages in all, different Kellogg's cereals like Pep and Rice Krispies and Corn Flakes in a handy white, green, and red package. Just be sure it's Kellogg's Variety. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman.